Hey students, welcome back. This week we are starting a really exciting new assignment. It has to do with taking senior portraits. Last week you learned about portraiture and the 4 rules of portraiture. This week we're extending and continuing that topic by focusing on a very particular type of portrait that's called a senior portrait. As you probably know, most seniors in their senior year of high school have a special set of photographs taken of them. They are pictures that try to capture the essence, the spirit, the style of this young person. And you're going to be taking pictures like that. Today we're going to look at a lot of these types of portraits. But before we do that, we want to go over just some of the rules of taking senior portraits. First of all, as you'll notice in a bit, when we look at a bunch of these senior portraits, they're often taken in multiple locations. Instead of just sitting in a studio or in a very formal setting, usually seniors will want to have their pictures taken in a variety of locations. Many times they're outdoor locations, such as wooded areas or streams, bridges, railroad tracks, in front of old brick buildings, or in fields of flower or that type of thing. They don't have to be only outdoor photographs, of course. They could be taken indoor in maybe an old building, an old staircase, in front of a fireplace, sitting in a big chair with lots of pillows on it. Really, any kind of interesting, comfortable, enjoyable setting that reflects the style of that person is a good place to take a senior portrait. And so all I'm encouraging you to do in this assignment is to find 2 to 4 different locations that you're going to take pictures of your subject in. So in order to do that, you're going to have to plan ahead a little bit. You can't just go out and start taking pictures. You're going to have to think about those settings beforehand and plan about where you're going to take these pictures. Next, we want to think about clothing or props. It's important that your subject wears solid colors usually. A lot of times if you put them in a real busy pattern, a shirt that has lots of stripes or things like that, it doesn't usually look as well as if they just wear a solid color. Oftentimes a dark color works best. A lot of times seniors want to have their picture taken wearing a uniform or a letterman's jacket or something like that that represents their school years. In addition to that, you can also think about different props that they might want to hold or have with them in the photograph, such as a musical instrument or maybe some sporting equipment, maybe a pet or an animal that is important to them. Maybe it's in front of a vehicle that they have, or maybe it's just in a special location that means something to them. So you're going to want to think about the clothing they wear, the props that they might have in the picture with them, as well as the setting in which you take it, and have it be applicable to that person. Next, during the shoot, there's certain things you want to consider. First of all, I encourage you to try lots of different poses. In the photographs you're going to see in a little bit, you'll see that even though I'm taking lots of pictures of one person, my niece Andrea, you'll see I posed her in lots of different ways in order to try and catch just the right photograph. So try lots of poses. Be aware of the lighting. The kind of lighting that's falling on your subject. Make sure that the lighting is even, that there's not big areas of bright sunlight or shadow covering them. Be very aware of the background, that it's not cluttered or distracting. Remember the 4 rules of traditional portraiture that we learned in the previous last week's assignments, and try to apply those rules. And then just take lots of pictures. In my niece's portraits senior photo shoot, I took probably 100 different portraits, and we really narrowed it down to her favorites, which consisted of only about 5 portraits. But I didn't find those or take those 5 best portraits without having taken lots and lots of pictures in order to get those really good portraits. So take lots of pictures. All right, so here's the senior portrait shoot that I did with my niece Andrea, and it's right here in Bellingham. And you can see again, lots of different poses in lots of different settings. On the left is her just laying on a bench. It's in a shaded area. The lighting is good. And on the right is down by the water. It's a little bit more bright light, and you got interesting background. Here we have different settings. On the left is Andrea in more of a tree-covered area that gives really good lighting. On the right is in front of an old brick building. Again, these types of settings create really interesting backgrounds that are commonly used. Here another brick building. This is down by Boulevard Park, actually, and the railroad tracks there are another common setting for senior portraits. They just make interesting backgrounds um, that provide a lot of interest to the photograph. Here we have a couple more pictures. Again, lots of different locations, lots of different poses to try and create just the right image. Andrea plays soccer, and so she took along a prop, her soccer ball, and we went down to a soccer field and took a few pictures there as well, and these turned out really well. Let's take a look at some more photographs off the internet. I found a number of different sites that had lots of senior photos, and we'll just kind of look through these again. We can see here just sitting on some grass. That kind of background. The background is blurry. The rule of thirds has been applied. They were filling the frame with the subject matter, which is this young lady, and her shoulders are angled at a 45-degree angle to the camera. So a lot of the rules of portraiture are applied. Once again, rule of thirds, filling the frame, angled shoulders. Same rules applying here, but it's in black and white, which also works really well. Here's a fun portrait of her just laying on the grass. Once again, but then again, this photographer has used lots of different poses, all with the same gal. So I'm going to encourage you to do that. Really, we're just continuing our lessons on portraiture, but we're doing so by taking lots of portraits of just one person in different settings with different poses to try and really push our creative boundaries a little bit by trying more different poses and different settings with one person. I think you'll find that this will be a good exercise. There's that brick wall again. Once again, that type of setting is used often in photographs. Really great. Angled shoulders, filling the frame, blurry background, all the rules of traditional portraiture. There you go. Lots of nice pictures. Sometimes you have the full head to toe picture. Sometimes you have just a head and shoulder picture. Either one is fine. But you'll see many of the rules of portraiture applied in all of these. Here we have a prop. The young lady plays guitar, and so she brought that along to include in her portraits. There's the vehicle as a prop as well. All right, there's one. We have pictures of a young man as well. Rule of thirds is applied, filling the frame. Here, nothing more than just the side of a building is used as a background. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. This may just be a building on location at this person's home, and so they used it as a background, and that works just fine. It's not so important what's in the picture as far as the background or the location. It's just that you try different locations with different poses and that you use the rules of portraiture to create a really good portrait. Filling the frame, angled shoulders, blurry background, things like that. And one more young lady here again using an animal as a prop. Great idea. It's kind of an interesting background, just the exterior of a building with windows and some reflections and things like that. And here's a fountain. So once again, the rule of thirds is applied, and it's just a great portrait. All right, so let's go back to our assignment for this week. Your assignment is to take a series of portraits of one person. Now, I've said that this is about senior portraits. If you can find a senior in high school, or maybe a junior in high school, an older student, and take portraits of them, that would be great. But say you don't know a senior, or you can't find somebody of that age who would work for your portraits. That's fine. It can be a series of portraits of anyone. However, I do want you to have your series of portraits of just one person. Okay, you're not going to take a bunch of pictures of different people. You're going to take your photos at several different locations. You're going to plan ahead and think of the right place that you want to take these portraits. It can be indoor or outdoor. It doesn't really matter. You're going to use the rules of portraiture that we learned in the previous lesson to fill the frame, have angled shoulders, have blurry background that's not distracting, and have a light source at 45-degree angle. You're going to take both traditional portraits and environmental portraits, portraits that have a clear background that show the person in some setting, maybe with some props and things like that. You're going to actually have 2 weeks to complete this assignment. It's kind of a big assignment. It might take you a while. And so I'm going to give you 2 weeks to complete this. There will not be another set of assignments until after 2 weeks. And so you can take your time with this a little bit. You might need the weekend. You might need some extra time in the evenings to plan and prepare for this photo shoot. Okay, so that's your assignment. I'm expecting a lot of great photographs from you guys. Can't wait to see what you put together. And looking forward to seeing you post your pictures.